Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. One of the things that it's really hard to prepare clients for, I can tell them about it, but unfortunately, experientially, it can be really confusing and disorienting, really painful. I will say to them often as we start therapy together, hey, it's quite possible that your symptoms get worse before they get better. And it's like, yeah, but why? I'm in therapy. Like I'm dealing with them. Why would it get worse? Well, one of the key pieces of therapy that we're working on quite often is being honest about our lives. And when we start being completely honest and transparent and candid about our lives, we typically are setting aside defense mechanisms and coping strategies, or at least in real time in the session here, the defense mechanisms. We're going to try to disrupt them and dismantle them. The goal of a defense mechanism is often to blunt the pain, to bypass the pain, to not acknowledge the pain, to minimize the pain. And so when we stop doing that, now we have full access to pain points. And honestly, because it hasn't been dealt with before or held before or processed before, it can be really painful initially. And so when someone is saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, nothing's wrong, I'm fine. And then they say for the first time, I'm really horrifically lonely. They often start sobbing and shaking and crying, and then they leave here and they feel worse because they're looking around their life saying there's people everywhere, but they don't see me. But because we're being honest about it, we're not using the defense mechanism of minimizing, or we're not using the deflection, or we're not using whatever strategy to say, I don't like people anyway, who cares? No, we're being honest. And because we're being honest, there's this blunt force impact of sadness and grief and feeling unseen and misunderstood and taking inventory of our past and saying, how did it happen this way? Because the defense mechanisms are being diminished, or they're gone, they've been disrupted. And so we feel deep wells of pain, which, friends, is part of the process. It's because we're going towards the pain point and we're being honest about it, and we start to explore it and make sense of it. But typically that makes things worse initially, or at least often that makes things worse initially. If you are starting a therapy journey, it's important to understand that deeper levels of pain often mean I'm being radically honest about things right now, because that betrayal was hard, or their indifference is painful, or the fact that they carry on as though I don't exist, that hurts me. We start to be really honest about what it is, and honesty entails processing and holding really painful things without pretending they're not really painful things. And so my encouragement to you, if you've started a therapy journey and if it's gotten really, really really hard, really tough, that is part of the process. It's because you're going towards something and you're not defending yourself from it anymore. But it's hard, and it can be scary. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It actually means you're going towards something that's significantly painful, calling it by its name, and dealing with it with another human who's walking alongside of you. It's powerful, it's good, it is part of the process. And just be aware that once we take the lid off something, there's a full investigation that goes on, which means honest appraisal. It means exploring things as accurately as possible. It means equipping ourselves in those realities. And that's just heavy work. There's a lot of heavy lifting involved. We might feel worse before we feel better.